This is the second part of the Lego assembly tutorial, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in an axle this time and a gear, and I'm going to have the axle go through these two parts and eventually spin. So to start off with, I'm just going to go to assemble, and I'm going to grab the axle, which is the beginning, and I'll use axle 12, and it comes in. Now what I want to do, this is different now, is I want to make this axle spin in this hole. So to do that, first off, I come up to user defined and I select pin. Okay, and now it says select aligning axis or edge on one part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, instead of just selecting an edge, like you can see I'm selecting an edge right now and an edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and right in here, and I'm going to grab this surface right there. Okay, and that there is then going to go with this surface there, and you'll see they automatically go in. Okay, now it says connection definition is incomplete, and it says select a point or plan your surface on one part. So what that now means is the distance between here and here is what I still have to constrain. But I want a distance, not nice and flat. So I'm going to select distance, and I'm going to select the end of this, and I'm going to select the end of that, and you'll see it goes flush. Okay, but I can drag this white out, or I can set the distance up here. Now you'll also notice right now that I have this little yellow arrow and rotation part there. And that's going to mean basically that the part can rotate. So I've got the axle in. It doesn't matter the distance right now. I can always change it later on. Okay, and I'm just going to select accept, and I have my axle. Now here's the cool part. If I zoom in, okay, and I click on drag component, I can now click on this and I can actually spin it, and you can see it spinning there on the spot. Okay, zoom in a bit closer, and there it is spinning. Okay, so there's part one of the tutorial, and I just hit close here. Okay, part one. So next is I want the gear to actually get it connected to this axle and spin as well. So zoom in, I'm going to go assemble, and this time I want a gear, and it's going to be gear 24. And bring the part in. I'm going to turn on my 3D dragger. I'm just going to drag this thing a bit closer. So kind of just drag it like this, and 3D space. Where am I at? Maybe a bit closer here. Okay, and where am I at? That's good enough. Okay, so turn my dragger. Let me just spin it around a bit. There you go. And turn my dragger off. I'm going to zoom in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this surface in here, okay, to this here. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go to basically, I'm going to drag, let's grab, oh, hang on a second. Let's just, component placement, sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. So now I'm going to turn my 3D dragger off, okay, and I'm going to go to surface, and I'm going to select this surface down here, and I'm going to attach it to one of these surfaces here on the axle. Maybe go that surface there. Now when you look, I'm just going to reorientate this to the top. When I zoom in close, you can see that they're not lined up. So what I want to do is actually line the surfaces up now. So to do that, I'm going to zoom out a tiny bit and adjust it. Instead of grabbing a surface, I'm going to grab an edge this time. So I'm going to go edge, and I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to grab this edge right here. It could be this edge here or this edge, it doesn't matter which one. But I'm going to select this edge right here, and you can see it's highlighted in green. And I'm going to rotate this axle, or this part, to join with the axle. And if it's that edge there, that means on any one of these, or basically I'm going to grab, let's see, zoom out a bit. It's that one there. I have to get the right surface in here, so just give me a second to drag it the way I want. And I'm going to line it up with basically the edge that's right in there. So let's just zoom in a bit, and let's select down here. I'm going to go edge, and that one there lines up basically with this guy right here. Okay, so I'm going to select that. You can see it'll rotate. Now when I go to line up in the center, you will see that it's perfectly lined up. Okay, so I've matched up the edges. Now the last part is, when I do this, you can see, let me just zoom out again, you can see that it's a distance away. So I want to place this gear on this axle, as, you know, not up tight against here, not out at the edge, but somewhere in the middle there. So I'm going to, instead of doing a coincidence, I'm going to do distance. So up here, I'm going to change this to distance. Okay, and hang on a second. What I forgot to do is on this one it says orientate. I'm going to right mouse click, and I want this one to say coincidence. Okay, now what I'm going to do is select the next one. So I want, let's say, this distance here from here, and I'm going to change that to distance. And I'm going to select, let's just rotate it around a bit, and hang on a second. And I want this end of this one, and you can see now it says distance here, and you get the little white, and I can drag it into place. Okay, or I could specify a distance up here. So now that I've got that in place, and I have my two coincidences and my distance, I can hit OK. And I'm just going to rotate this around a tiny bit so I can get the angle that I want, so you can see it. Maybe a bit more right there, and I'll just move this up like this. Now what I can do is I can actually take this, go drag, and click, and now it's rotating. It's all part of one, right? So around it goes. Okay, so that completes tutorial part 2 and getting the first gear in place. Now I'm going to go on to the next tutorial and add in a second gear to make it all work. Okay, hit close, and that is the end of the tutorial.